No. Go ahead. I mean, other than that, it's, we expect. I don't get a pass on that. I'm just.
Not impressed. I mean,
We hope Iran conducts its election in a manner that not only conforms to international standards of transparency and accountability, but also represents the will of the Iranian people.
and do you think that's possible?
Let's let this thing run its course. Frankly, my understanding before coming out here was that polling stations were kept open. There's been a large turnout, but we won't really have any judgment to make for several days before we.
But just objectively, do you think that it can be, that it's possible for it to be a reflection of the will of the Iranian people, given the fact that the rules and regulations and vetting that has to take place for candidates
I'm not going to.
eligible?
And the exclusion of so many reformist candidates.
Obviously, we believe strongly that all Iranians should have the opportunity to express themselves freely, but I'm not going to prejudge the outcome yet.
Yeah, but you believe that they have they must, but you think that it's an open question that they might or can?
Again, I'm not going to give them a grade either way at this point. Obviously, there's significant challenges within Iran, given the political climate, but I'm not going to say much beyond that.
Iran.
They had an election. You might have noticed. What do you make of it? Was this a resounding, sweeping victory by reformists and moderates, or was it more of the same?
We're going to reserve judgment right now. The results of the elections are still being tallied as we understand it. We understand also that the official results are going to be released tomorrow. So we've seen preliminary reporting of some of the results. It appears as if there's going to be a number of runoff races, but we're going to reserve judgment and further comment right now.
And the conduct of it? Do you think that it was?
I think we're just going to reserve judgment and further comment right now.
So wait a second. I mean, because on Friday, your colleague Mark had expressed some hope that it could, be a representation of the will of the Iranian people. Do you still think that?
Well, there certainly appears to be, from the reports, a good turnout, and it does look like a lot of Iranians participated in it. But I think we're just going to reserve our judgment and comment at this time while things are still being tallied and evaluated. I've got to go. Got one more.
Really quick now,
If 158 members that are moderates and reformists and so on out of 290, that would be a good thing, and that would be, in a way, like a resounding
Yep.
accreditation
I can
to the Iran process.
I can appreciate your effort to ask the question a different way, but we're going to reserve comment right now. Thanks.
Can I ask about another election, one that I asked about yesterday? And I'm just wondering if you guys have come to any even preliminary conclusions about what happened in the Iranian election, whether there seem to be competing narratives going on. One being pushed is that this was a huge victory for reformers and moderates. Another being pushed is that, in fact, it was the opposite, because all the reformers and moderates were, in fact, disqualified from running in the election, and that these people who are being presented as reformers and moderates were, in fact, not so long ago, considered hardliners.
Yeah, as I understand it, the results are still preliminary. We've seen no definitive assessment out of Tehran, and so we are still reserving our judgment and comment as the preliminary results continue to be tallied.
Very quickly, do you have any comment on the result of the election? I think now most votes have been tallied, and it seems like the extremists have been dealt a resounding defeat. You don't have a comment on that?
it's the Iranian election.
The Iranian election, yes, of course. The Iranian election.
I mean, we've seen some of the results, but I think the Interior Ministry said yesterday that official results would probably take weeks, and there's probably going to be runoff elections as well. So, we're not necessarily going to speak to the outcome of the election at this point in time. We're going to wait for all the formal results to be tallied and officially announced.
Would you agree with the assessment that signing the Iran deal helped Rouhani and the moderates in this election?
Look, I mean, our focus, the Iran deal, and we've said this many, many times, was, keeping Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. That was our sole intent. Whatever else may come from it, whether it's greater cooperation with Iran in the region, whether it's, strengthening for the President Rouhani on the ground in this political environment, I can't really speak to that. The focus of the agreement, the JCPOA, was to prohibit Iran from attaining a nuclear weapon, and we believe it's going to accomplish that goal.
And lastly, I mean, let me ask the question that Matt asked last week.
Yeah.
You always issue statements when elections take place, and if they are held according to international standards and so on. If it is decided by you or determined by you that it has the Iranians have adhered to a international standard conducting this election,
Sure.
would you issue a statement? Are you
I mean,
likely
it's
to make a
again,
comment?
we have relative, as Matt does point out, but oftentimes we rely on international monitors or observers on the ground. That was not allowed in Iran. So we're basing our assessment on a variety of factors: international media reporting, reports from Iranians themselves. But it's so we're still kind of formulating our overall assessment of the elections. But we don't have the OSCE or some other international body saying these are free and fair. We declare them as such. All right, guys. Thanks.